And then all of a sudden, our board is Abyss Dweller, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Cicada King, Verte, IP, and Appaloosa with 3 on it, which is absolutely insane. But there's an issue with it, and we're not going to be doing this part of the deck. I'm going to tell you why right now. What's up, guys? It's your boy Kazaris back with another TCG deck profile, and today I'm very excited to bring you guys my Inzektor deck profile. I have been labbing a ton of lists and combos with this deck for weeks now. I've come up with all this on my own. It might already exist, but I didn't really look anything up. I just wanted to figure everything out for myself. So if any of this stuff exists, then I guess I can't really take credit for it. But if you can't find it anywhere, then I will happily take credit for these combos. I'm not saying this is exactly the best way to do them. I mean, there could be better ways, but I haven't found any. And I think it's pretty cool what this deck can do. So Dragonfly was the only limited card for the longest time, along with Hornet, and they came back a few months ago. And they just had a spell card get announced. They have a new spell card coming out in the set in January in the Grand Creators. We don't know exactly what it does, like as far as restrictions or anything, but we know it's a normal spell that will either summon an Inzektor from the deck or equip an Inzektor spell from the deck. So that is absolutely nuts for the deck. It's 3 extra copies of every Inzektor in the deck. It's an extender and a starter. When I heard that the spell was announced before the effect came out, I was like, man, if it was like add an Inzektor or equip from deck, that would be crazy. But it's even better than that. It summons from deck, so it's an extender and a starter. Absolutely insane. So when that comes out, this deck is going to get much, much better. But for now, I just wanted to try it out because it is extremely fun. So I'm going to show you guys a really cool combo that I came up with, but I've come to realize that I don't really want to play it. I'm going to show you guys what it is, and then I'm going to tell you why. So for the combo, kind of intensive. You need Dragonfly, you want Ladybug, and you want a really cool extender called Durendal. Infernal Arms Durendal. Now, Infernal Arms Durendal might seem a little out of place here because it's an Infernal card. However, it's an equipped spell that will destroy itself to search a card. And by destroying itself, you will trigger Dragonfly. This can equip itself to anything, so I'll show you why. So starting off, you want to normal summon Dragonfly. And I'm going to use dice and stuff to indicate what has and has not used its effect, and also what level things are, because you're going to use Dragonfly like 6 or 7 times, and you're going to use Inzektor Centipede like 6 or 7 times, because all of them are not once per turn effects. So good old classic Yu-Gi-Oh for you. So you're going to normal summon Dragonfly, you're going to equip it with Infernal Arms Durendal, you're going to pop Infernal Arms Durendal to search Infernal Knight Oliver. Now what Oliver can do is that while there's an equipped card on the field, you can send that to the graveyard to summon him from your hand as a level 1 monster, which will send an equipped card from a Dragonfly or from an Inzektor to trigger that effect, and you get a free extender to make a link with. So he's like the best target to search with Durendal in this deck. And since you popped with Durendal, you'll activate Dragonfly to summon your first Centipede from the deck. Now, Centipede will equip, or Dragonfly will equip the Ladybug. Ladybug will send the Dragonfly to make it level 4. Dragonfly will trigger its effect again because we used Durendal to trigger it first, and now we're using actual Dragonfly's effect to equip that Ladybug and then use its effect again to summon. The only once per turn effect is to equip from hand or grave while it's on the field. But if you have a new copy, you can do that as many times. You can do a new copy once, and then if it leaves the field and comes back, you can do it again. The summon from deck effect, however, is never once per turn at any point. Neither is the search from deck with the Centipede. So Dragonfly has used its effect and it's level 4. We're going to activate the Centipede. We're going to equip Ladybug again. We're going to Ladybug make Centipede level 4, and we're going to Centipede search. Where Centipede is going to search another Dragonfly, and I'll tell you why we're searching another one in a second, because of new support from Dawn of Majesty. Before we link off this Centipede, we're going to use his effect as well. Equip Ladybug. Ladybug will make this Centipede a level 4. The levels don't really matter at this point, but they will once we start Xyz summoning with our Inzektors. And now we are going to search Inzektor Gigamantis. This card is really cool, but I'll get into him in a second. Now, we're going to link these two off. For the new super rare Beetrooper Link 2, that for the life of me, I could not find at my locals. I found literally everything else that I needed. I just could not find this card. So I'll put it on the screen here. It gives you an additional normal summon of any insect. But while this is on the field, you can only special summon insects, and that's absolutely fine because we're just going to be able to link it off for a different insect link. If it's in the graveyard, you can banish 3 insects to summon it back as well. You can do both effects once per turn. So it's a very, very good card generically for insects. So we're going to link off 2 Centipede for that. We're going to normal summon our second Dragonfly by activating this card's effect. We're going to activate this Dragonfly's effect. We are going to equip Ladybug yet again. Ladybug will send to make Dragonfly level 4. And we are going to trigger this Dragonfly's effect to summon our last Centipede from the deck. Centipede will attach Ladybug. Ladybug's going to send, make Centipede level 4. We're going to activate this Centipede. We are going to search Hornet. Doesn't really matter at this point because we're going to link off this Centipede and the Beetrooper link 2 to make the Inzektor link Inzektor Picofolina. Now, when I first read this card, I was like, man, this is extremely mediocre. But in testing, it's actually extremely good for the deck because it allows you to shuffle back all these centipedes that you just used into the deck to summon them all back off of the Dragonfly again, which is absolutely crazy. So you're going to link summon the Picofolina up here. Doesn't really matter that much. And you're going to use its effect on summon. You can discard any card to target an insect monster you control and equip an insect monster from the deck to that monster. So we're going to discard the Hornet that we searched. Doesn't really matter to equip a Hornet to this Dragonfly. Now, before we do anything else, we want to activate Picofolina's effect to shuffle back all 3 Centipede into the deck to draw a random card. And I'll just signify that with this right here. Ideally, you don't draw one of the Centipedes. If you do, it's not that big a deal because like the Centipede eventually will just be searching you like fake advantage, I call it. Like you'll have a ton of Inzektors in your hand, but they'll just be like Hornets and Ladybugs, which really don't matter. So like drawing a Centipede isn't that big of a deal. But anyway, so we're gonna shuffle back just to make sure we get all the Centipedes in the deck. We're going to equip Gigamantis to either Dragonfly, it doesn't matter. If we equip both of these to this one will trigger twice because 2 equip cards left it. But just for the sake of saving confusion between you and the opponent, we're going to equip this Hornet to this Dragonfly and this Gigamantis to this Dragonfly. We're going to activate Hornet's effect to send itself to the graveyard to pop a card on the field. So we're going to send itself to pop Gigamantis. Now Gigamantis has an effect that when it's just sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can activate its effect to target an Inzektor in the graveyard and special summon it. So we're going to set pop Hornet, pop Gigamantis. We're going to Dragonfly Chainlink 1, Dragonfly Chainlink 2, Gigamantis Chainlink 3, target Hornet. We're going to special summon the Hornet. I'll move this over a tiny bit. There we go. We're going to special summon a Centipede, and we're going to special summon a Centipede. So now we have used these 2 Dragonflies on the side here. They're still level 4. We can still use the Centipede, we can still use the Centipede, and technically we could use the Hornet, but that's not really going to do anything for us because Hornet doesn't have an on-field effect really. So it's not that great. It can just kind of, it can like equip, it can equip anything. So like if you equip a Centipede or something, you can make it like level 6, or if you equip a Ladybug, Ladybug can adjust its level, but like that's about it. You can maybe get an Xyz out of it. So it could come up, but like in this combo, it is not going to come up. So we're going to activate this Centipede. We're going to equip Ladybug. Ladybug is going to send itself to make it level 4. We're going to activate the Centipede to search. We are going to search Giga Weevil. Now, Giga Weevil was never really played because it's the worst of the 2. It'll change the original defense of the monster it's equipped to 2600, whereas Gigamantis will change the original attack to 2400. So you always play Gigamantis just because you wanted to adjust the attack levels. But in this scenario, these are the only hard once per turns in the deck. They can only special summon from the grave once per turn, and you can only use that effect once per turn per copy. So we're playing a Giga Weevil and a Gigamantis. That way we can get 2 summons from the graveyard by just using 2 different monsters that essentially accomplish the same thing. Because we're not using them for their stat adjustment, we're just using them as an extender. So we're going to search the Giga Weevil with this Centipede. We're going to activate this Centipede, equip Ladybug. Ladybug will send to make this Centipede level 4. Get my last die here. Centipede effect will search again. We're going to search the Inzektor Sword, Inzecticaliber, and then this is just going to act as a way to add back from grave and a way to trigger Dragonfly one final time. And now we are going to link off the Picofolina, a Centipede, and the Hornet for an Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, and this is going to be our first interruption. This is 4/3. This Apple has three counters on it, so I'll signify that there. All right, and now we want to clear up some more board space just so that we can summon some more cards from our deck and graveyard. So we're going to overlay these two that were level 4 for a Dweller, just to clear up some space. It's gotta be Dweller here because you're gonna use this Infernal Knight Oliver as an extender, and the only thing that you can use it for after you extend it with it is like IP. So now we're going to equip Giggle Weevil to the Dragonfly, going to activate the Infernal Knight Oliver, send the Giggle Weevil to the graveyard to special summon the Nut Oliver from our hand as a level 1 monster. Going to trigger the Dragonfly on the field, chain link 1, the Giggle Weevil in the graveyard, chain link 2, and that is going to special summon the Centipede for us from our graveyard, and then Dragonfly is going to summon Centipede from the deck. So that's our last Centipede out of the deck. Now we can activate the Centipede to equip, in this case, a Hornet. We want to keep these at level 3 now because we want to be able to make Cicada King, which is our like insect rank 3 interruption. So now we have Dragonfly, Centipede, Oliver. We're going to activate this Centipede to equip Ladybug. Ladybug's just going to send itself. Doesn't really matter what level we adjust the Centipede to. We just want to get a search with it. Just use it to get advantage before we link it off for an IP. So we're going to link these two off for an IP right there. And now we're going to activate Inzektor on this Dragonfly. We're going to Hornet pop this Inzektor. Will trigger Dragonfly chainlink 1, Centipede chainlink 2, Inzektor chainlink 3, and this is going to add back a Giga Mantis from our graveyard for the following turn. We're going to add from deck a Ladybug. Again, just fake advantage at this point. Just getting cards out of our deck so that we can draw better cards on the following turn. And then this Dragonfly is going to summon a Hornet. Now, we are going to overlay Centipede and Hornet for our Cicada King. Now, Cicada King is really cool because he's both an interruption and, in this case, an extender. Because when a monster on the field activates its effects, we can chain this card, detach a material to negate that effect, and then either change the battle position of a monster we control or increase the defense of an insect by 500. So we're going to activate Dweller, just detach a material. We're going to chain the Cicada King, detach a material to negate the Dweller. And then since we changed his battle position, we get to special summon a monster from the graveyard. And now all that does is it gives us a final monster on the field to link off into Verte Anaconda. And then we can use Verte Anaconda to send the 3 normals and the Red Eyes Fusion to the graveyard to make Dragoon. And then all of a sudden, our board is Abyss Dweller, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Cicada King, Verte, IP, and Appaloosa with 3 on it, which is absolutely insane. But there's an issue with it, and we're not going to be doing this part of the deck. I'm going to tell you why right now. The issue is that you cannot push through any interruption really with this deck. You lose to Veiler on the Dragonfly, you lose to Imperm on the Dragonfly. You can lose to Ash on the Dragonfly. If you have kind of an extender, then maybe you can kind of push through it, but like there's aren't enough extenders to like give this deck enough gas. And like if you just want to like be able to push through things and make some sort of board, you have to play a ton of extenders, and you won't be able to play like any hand traps, which means if you go second with this deck and your opponent puts up a board, you're not even really going to be able to push through their board. So like going first, you're easily interrupted, and going second, you can't really push through anything. So while this board is crazy and the decks can do some crazy things, it's just not worth, it's just not extremely realistic to be able to do that. So I've been drafting up an actual deck list to use to be able to remedy that problem and still put up formidable boards if our opponent can't interrupt us enough. But I think playing the deck more as a mid-range control deck is going to be the way to go. So stick around. I'm going to get right into that. I'm going to show you the actual deck profile. So now actually getting into the actual deck profile part of this video, I'm pretty content on this list. I might make some changes here or there, but overall I feel like it captures the essence of what I showed you in the beginning. It still can combo. The combo is a bit different, but it's just overall a bit more consistent and can help actually interrupt the opponent on their turn and can go second. So that's the main thing. Like this deck can go second. Ideally you want to go first. It can extend through hand traps and put up some sort of board to kind of just pop off in the following turn. So I'll explain more as I get into the video. So starting off with your Inzektor count, you're playing 3 Inzektor Dragonfly, 3 Inzektor Centipede, 3 Inzektor Hornet, 3 Inzektor Ladybug, 1 Inzektor Gigamantis, and 1 Inzektor Sword Zect Caliber. You do not play Giga Weevil in this build because you're not going for that high roll full in combo. And you really only use Giga Weevil as like an additional extender in that to make that whole end board. But overall, it's just a brick that you can cut in this build. Like I'm honestly debating cutting a Ladybug because like this isn't a level 3, which can kind of hurt a little bit. And the level adjustment can also hurt if you get interrupted at a certain point. So like when we get the new spell in January, I'm absolutely going to cut Ladybug to 2, maybe even 1. Like it's still a great card for level manipulation, but the fact that it's not a level 3 insect doesn't really work well with in conjunction with other cards in this deck. You're still playing the Zect Sword Zect Caliber just because it's an equip card that you can use with an extender. Same thing with Gigamantis. This is actually a hilarious out to Appaloosa. Because it's not a once per turn effect to equip from hand, and it makes the original attack of whatever Inzektor you equip to it 2400. So if your opponent like has Appo for 3, like I rarely see an Appo for 4 these days. So if you like summon Dragonfly, equip Gigamantis to make his attack 2400, they're like, oh, I have to negate that because he'll just crash with me. And you go, cool, do it again, and then you'll make it 2400, and then you can just beat over their 1600 Appaloosa. If they realize that it's not once per turn, if they don't, and they don't do that, you can still just crash with it, which is hilarious. So this is actually out the opposing Appaloosas pretty well. But like you want to have all these because you want to see Dragonfly, you want to see Centipede, you want to see these, like it's a 2-card combo. You want to see one of these 6 and one of these 6 with some extenders. And if you don't see that, like the extenders help you at least stall. And with hand traps, you should be able to make it to the next turn. So that's your Inzektor count. And then finally, Foolish Burial is just an extra copy of like Ladybug or Hornet, whatever you need in the graveyard. So playing one of the Foolish. Now getting on to our extenders. We have 2 Digital Bug Registrider, 2 of the new Beetrooper Scale Bomber. I'll explain these in a second. 2 Infernoble Knight Oliver, 3 Infernoble Arms Durendal, 2 Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, and a Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is really cool because if you get Valor or Impermed on your Dragonfly, you can link it off into Salamangreat Almirage and then just reborn it and try its effect again. Or you can just use it as like an extender in the combo. If you get Nibiru, you can like reborn Dragonfly and just keep going from there, stuff like that. Cocoon of Ultra Evolution is pretty cool. I still don't know how I feel about it. Like sometimes it's dead, but sometimes it's just really good. You can tribute an insect from either field equipped with an equip card, and if you do, special 1 insect from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target an insect monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and then draw a card. So it's an extender and it's a free draw. If you have it in your hand and you can combo anyway, and you can discard this with Pico Felina, then you can just use this to draw. You can use Pico Felina to draw. So like at that point, it's really good. Or if you have like an Inzektor monster equipped with the Durendal and they ash the Durendal, you can like Cocoon of Ultra Evolution to tribute your insect monster that's equipped with an equip card and summon a Dragonfly from the deck. Or if you just open like double Hornet or double Ladybug or Hornet and Ladybug, which does nothing on their own, you can equip one to the other and then Cocoon of Ultra Evolution them away to summon a Dragonfly from the deck, which gets you to your combo basically. Then you can shuffle one of them back to get a draw. So like it can be really good, but like every once in a while, if you just like already have the combo, you don't really need this. Like if you go Dragonfly effect to equip and they Valor, and you don't have like this or Inzektor Sword Zect Caliber or Gigamantis to like freely equip something, then it's dead. I don't know, like there's some situations where it's dead, but like most of the time it's pretty good. So like I'm still not sure how I feel about it. Like I might just end up cutting it to 1, but at that point it's just like, why even bother playing it? So I don't know, I'm leaving it at 2 for now. Durendal, as you saw in that first combo, is still a great extender. We are still playing it. Same thing with Oliver. Like even opening Oliver on its own, just to send an equip card to summon it. Like if you have like Dragonfly and Centipede and no Hornet or Ladybug, but you have the Oliver, you can Dragonfly equipped Centipede, Oliver to send the Centipede, and then that'll trigger Dragonfly to summon like Hornet from the deck, and then you can make a Cicada King and sit on that for a turn. So I'll show that off in a little bit. And then these are the cool level 3 insect extenders. So Registrider will summon itself when you normal summon a level 3 insect. So you summon Dragonfly, you'll trigger this, summon itself. Or Beetrooper Scale Bomber is new from the new set Dawn of Majesty. If an insect monster is normal or special summoned to your field except during the damage step, you can special it from your hand. And then this is like a Ghost Ogre while on the field. So when a monster your opponent controls activates its effect, quick effect, you can tribute one insect monster, destroy it. So you can tribute itself to destroy the monster your opponent activated. It won't negate it, but it's like if they needed that for like a material for a link summon, like against Tri Brigade, it gets rid of a material, so it makes them not able to make as good of a board. Against like, I'm trying to think, against Dragon Link, you can, if they like normal summon Chamber Dragon Maiden activate this effect, you can pop it and then they won't be able to make Striker Dragon with it. They'll have to have like a quick launch or something. Against Drytron, if they make the Xyz, you can just pop the Xyz with this, which is really good. I just thought of that. I hadn't actually, I don't know, I've played one local with it. I went 2-2 just because I lost to like Skill Drain Blue Eyes, which is just random. Like that's not ever gonna happen again, probably. And I made a misplay. So I went 2-2 with this in the local that I played, the one local that I played with. But yeah, you can pop the Drytron Xyz, get rid of the ritual materials. That's kind of neat. You can just pop the Diviner, get rid of the ability to make Beatrice. So that's really nice. So but it's also a level 3 to make Cicada King with. So these are your extenders. Also Registrider, if it's used as Xyz material, it can only be used for this Xyz summon of an insect monster, but it'll boost the attack and defense of that monster by 1,000. So that's pretty neat. So those are all of your extenders. I'm still going over what else I could play potentially, but I think those are fine for now. We have 3 Pot of Prosperity and a Called by the Grave. This is digging for Dragonfly. Until we get that spell in January that summons Dragonfly and we can play 6 of each. Right now we only have 3 Dragonfly, so we want to be able to play Pot of Prosperity to see that. Now the issue with this card is like if you wanted to do the combo build, you need to be able to resolve Pico Felina to shuffle back all 3 Centipede and draw. But if you activated this card that turn, you cannot draw anymore. So like this card is definitely better in this variant of the deck because it's more of a mid-range comp. Like I'm not going for a big combo anyway, so I don't need to resolve Pico Felina. So like I can freely play this to see Dragonfly or like a hand trap if I already have everything, or just like get to my combo pieces. So this card's definitely really good. Called by the Grave, obviously, push your plays through. This card's dumb. And then for the hand traps, I have 3 Ash, 3 Effect Veiler. This should be 3 impermanents. I don't know where my other one went. I think I lent it to my friend at the local the other day. I just forgot to get it back. But 3 Ash, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 impermanents. 9 hand traps. I'm debating on making room for more. Like if I end up cutting the cocoons as the extenders, I might just add like 2 Ghost Spell or something. Just 2 generically good hand traps just to make it 11. Just because you want to be able to, you want to do like a small combo and then sit on that and hand traps. And then on the following turn, you can just Hornet pop your opponent's entire board. Because like your Hornet can just still blow out your opponent. It's such a ridiculous card. And especially in this build, like you can resolve Hornet like 6 times and just blow up a whole board. So like having the hand traps to stop and you side more. So, all right, that's what happened. I lost to Adignister because I sided in like 16 hand traps. The only one I saw was Phantasme, and he had the Ash for the Phantasme. So that was just like extremely unlucky and unluckily. Like the only one I opened is Phantasme, and he has the Ash for it. It's just crazy unlikely. So that was an unfortunate loss. That was a game 3, but we got to roll with the punches there. So 9 hand traps, just generically good. You just want to be able to stop your opponent going second. Otherwise, like, but in the combo build, you don't have room for those because you're just playing more extenders. Then moving on to the extra deck, you have the Almirage for that Reborn play that I talked about. You have the Room. This shouldn't be 2 Pico Felina. One of these should be the new Beetrooper Armor Horn, which is the link 2 that gives you an extra normal summon. But for now, since I didn't have it, I was just playing 2. This card is definitely crazy, but definitely really good for the deck. And I found this card when I was looking. I didn't even know this like existed really. I'd never read it. But it's a link 3 for insects, and it's like in this version of the build where you're just trying to like maintain advantage and just like end on a weak combo. This card's really cool. So you can use 1 effect per turn. It's technically generic, but if you make it with insects, it'll gain 1 counter for every insect you use to make it. But then you can't use the other effect this turn. So you'll get counters on your turn, and then it's a quick effect to remove a counter and special summon a level 4 lower insect from your graveyard in defense position. So on your turn, you'll typically gain 2 counters on it. It'll gain 200 attack for every counter, so it'll be 25, which is pretty big. And then on your opponent's turn, you can remove a counter, summon like a dragonfly or a centipede from the grave. Then on your turn, you can remove the other counter, summon another one. So like you can put all of your monsters into this card and then just summon them back over the course of 2 turns. And then Pico Felina, of course, is your extender for the deck. So really cool there. And then on to others, you have IP Masquerena, Phoenix, and Unicorn. You can just get a ton of like free monsters on the field. Just put them into a Phoenix to pop a back row. IP to end on. Sometimes if you like, you end on IP often. If you can do a combo, you end on this, as well as to go into Unicorn. So that's pretty cool there. Access code talker and Appaloosa. You can still make this, and then you need access code in this version to kill your opponent most likely. So you need that. And then moving on to the Xyz. So you have 2 number 3 Cicada King. You're playing 2 in this variant because it's like Cicada King control. Like you just want to play these level 3 extenders to go into Cicada King with like 2 hand traps. Like it's a Veiler for your opponent. You'll have an Ash, you'll have an Imperm. That should be enough to stop your opponent. This will change itself to defense to summon back an insect, and then on your turn, you can manually change its position again to summon back another insect. So this card is just a double reborn essentially, and then you should just be able to push through your opponent's board from there. You just want to play 2 of these because you want to have the option to make 2 over the course of a grindy game. You play the 1 Abyss Dweller still, great rank 4, and then on to the rank 5. So you play the new Chronomaly Vimana. This card is just a monster negate. You can make it 2 level 5 monsters. Ladybug will make your Inzektors level 5. You can increase them by 1 or 2 levels, so level 4 or 5. It's a quick effect to negate the activation of opponent's monster effect by detaching 2 materials. And it can also quick effect target a face-up monster on the field and either an Xyz monster or a Chronomaly monster in your graveyard. The monster on the field that you target gains half the attack of the monster in the graveyard that you targeted, and then you attach the graveyard target to this card. So essentially, what that kind of means for this deck is if you have a Cicada King in the graveyard, you can activate this card effect on the field, targeting the Cicada King. Typically, you'll target itself, make this card gain 600 attack, and then you'll attach the Cicada King to it. And then if you have 2 other materials and you attack your opponent, you can make a 4 material Zeus. So that can come up. I wasn't playing Zeus in the local. My friend was like, you should play Zeus. And I was like, holy crap, you're right. So like this deck can make Zeus. It's definitely a very good option because it's a grindy deck. If you like go Cicada King, negate on your opponent's turn, change it to attack on your turn. Now it still has a material. You can attack with it and then make like a Zeus or something. So that's just a very good card. And then Durendal is crazy as well. So for those who played in 2017, you probably remember the Trickstar Reincarnation Droll lock. So whenever your opponent would search a card, you would activate Trickstar Reincarnation and then chain Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird would resolve first, making neither player able to add cards from deck to the hand, including drawing. And then Trickstar Reincarnation would resolve, making your opponent banish their whole hand, but then they couldn't draw because Droll was in effect. Durendal has a quick effect Magical Mallet effect, where both players shuffle all cards into their deck and then draw all the same amount of cards. So when you side in Drolls, you can make Durendal. Your opponent will search a card, you'll activate Durendal's effect to Magical Mallet both players' hands, and then you'll chain Droll. Both players will shuffle everything into the deck, and then neither player will draw. However, your opponent hasn't made a board and you have a board set up, so you can probably just kill your opponent from there. So Durendal is really cool. It can also randomly change your opponent's normal spell. When your opponent activates a normal spell or trap card, you can detach a material and then the activated effect becomes an MST. So if your opponent activates like Tri-Brigade Revolt, you can chain Durendal to make Tri-Brigade Revolt just become MST. So that just makes it so much like they're still popping a card you control maybe, but like they're not getting Tri-Brigade Revolt, which is the important part. So Durendal is a really, really cool card. And then moving on to the side deck, just some random side deck options. You can play Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. That card's really good against Sky Striker to stop like Widow Anchors and stuff like that on your Dragonfly. You can play Droll and Lockbird, like I mentioned. That's a good option as well. The Nibiru is a cool card. Artifact Lancia for the Tri-Brigade matchup. That's good as well. These are just some of the cards I was playing. Pancratops is pretty good going second. Droplet is pretty good going second. This is actually really funny because you can, like, if you have like Dragonfly equipped Centipede, you can Droplet send a Centipede to negate something, and then that'll trigger the Dragonfly because an effect left, or a monster left Dragonfly while it was on the field. And then you like going first, you can side in strikes. Strikes really good as well. So like these are some of the cards I was playing. Ratios could change. I'm not sure what else you could side. Maybe you could side like Mystical Space Typhoons, just to like pop pack row or trigger your effect monsters. That's an option as well. Twin Twisters, stuff like that. So that's going to do it for the deck profile, guys. So let's just get into like what a mid-range combo of this deck can look like. All right, so getting into the mid-range combo, like the variant of this deck. So say you have a hand like this. You can normal summon the Dragonfly. You can activate the Registrider's effect in your hand to special summon itself because you normal summoned a level 3 insect. Now, if you get Veiler or Impermed on your Dragonfly's effect, now you can just make a Cicada King, sit on this. On your opponent's turn, this will be a 2200 attack and 3500 defense, which is huge. On your opponent's turn, you have Veiler, Ash Blossom, and Cicada King negate. Cicada King can detach the Dragonfly to negate a monster, switch itself to defense, and then you can activate its effect to special summon the Dragonfly. And now you can stop your opponent on your turn. Now you'll have Dragonfly to try and just equip Ladybug again, and just like snowball that way. So like you'll play through a hand trap, you'll still set up some sort of board, and you'll just gain advantage with this. So like you can Dragonfly, equip Ladybug, send it, and then you can switch Cicada King to attack and use that as a reborn again. So that's kind of crazy. Because now you just manually change its battle position and it'll trigger its effect to special summon an insect from the hand or grave. Pretty nuts. However, if your combo resolves now, now you can just, this is what kind of combo you can make with this build of the deck. So you'll Ladybug, send, make Dragonfly level 5. You will special summon your Centipede from the deck. You will activate your Centipede to equip Ladybug. Ladybug makes Centipede level 5. Centipede's effect will search a Dragonfly. You can still do your standard. So you'll link with these two because you don't really need the Registrider anymore because you know your combo is going to resolve. So now you can link for the Armor Horn dude that I still do not have. So he is your additional normal summon, the Beetrooper link. You'll additionally normal summon Dragonfly. Let me use dice here. So this one's level 5. Activate this one's effect, equip Ladybug, Ladybug send, make it level 5. Dragonfly effect, special summon Centipede from the deck. Centipede effect, equip Ladybug, Ladybug make it level 5. Centipede effect to search. You are going to search Gigamantis here. We're not going for the high roll combo because we don't play Mantis and Weevil. So we're gonna end a little bit sooner than expected. So we're gonna link the Centipede and the Armor Horn for an Inzektor Pico Felina. Pico Felina will discard. I guess in this case we're just gonna discard Veiler because I'd rather keep Ash Blossom because we're still gonna try and end on Cicada King and the Chronomaly of Vimana, which are both monster negates. So I'd rather just have the Ash Blossom as like varied interruption. So we're going to discard to equip Hornet to Dragonfly. We're going to equip a Gigamantis to Dragonfly. Now so we have these two equipped to each of the Dragonflies. Now before we activate the Mantis effect and everything, we're going to want to shuffle back 2 of the Centipedes that we used, as well as the Registrider to the deck to draw a random card. So we're going to signify that here. So we have a random card and our Ash Blossom still. And now we're going to Hornet pop the Gigamantis. We're going to Gigamantis Chainlink 1, Dragonfly Chainlink 1, Dragonfly Chainlink 2, Gigamantis Chainlink 3. We're going to special summon the Hornet from the graveyard, and we're going to special summon 2 Centipedes from the deck. Now, we're going to keep these Centipedes at level 3 because we want to use them to make Cicada King. So now we're going to just equip Hornet to one of the Centipedes. We're going to equip Gigamantis to the other one. We're going to Hornet pop Gigamantis again. We won't be able to activate Gigamantis twice, but we will be able to search twice with Centipedes. So we're going to grab the last Dragonfly from the deck, as well as the Inzektor Sword. Now, we've already used the Pico Felina, so we can feel free to link that off. For the Seraphim Papillon, we could go for Appaloosa here for more interruptions, but This should just be enough. So like we just want to make Seraphim Papillon as a way to generate more advantage over the next 2 turns. So Seraphim Papillon will get 2 counters on it because we used 2 insect monsters for its summon. Now we're going to overlay these 2 for Cicada King. There he is in all his glory in attack position. Now we're going to overlay these 2, which are both level 5, for Chronomaly Vimana. This card is cool, very, very cool. It's a monster negation, whereas this is just a monster effect negation. And we are going to sit on that. Now, if we had like Durendal or something, we could probably get to IP here as well, which could we could reborn Seraphim with Seraphim on our opponent's turn and then use that in IP to link off into Unicorn. But like with this, we have a monster negation, we have an Ash Blossom, we have a Vimana, we have Dragonfly on the next turn, we had a draw. So just like this just generates, we have a summon off of Cicada King as well. This just generates a ton of advantage. So we want to make sure to like try and negate with Vimana first. That way our Papillon and Cicada King can summon Dragonflies from the graveyard, because these are just better than summoning Centipedes because they generate more advantage because they summon from the deck. So make sure to try and negate with that first. And now when our Cicada King negates and changes itself to defense, we can summon Dragonfly back from the graveyard. And then Papillon can also summon Dragonfly back from the graveyard. Now we just have a ton of Dragonflies without our normal summon on our turn. So it means we can just use these and Hornet to just pop our opponent's entire field. Because we just had 2 negates and an Ash, so there's probably not going to be able to make a huge board through that, and then we can just blow it all up with Hornet Dragonfly. So that is like the mid-range version of this deck. It just tries to like snowball, like do a weak little combo on our turn, interrupt our opponent, and then just snowball with Dragonflies and Hornets to wipe our opponent's entire field and go into access code on our turn with like the Seraphim Papillon and any other monster. So that is going to do it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I love this deck a lot. I'm so excited to play it. I was going to put out a deck profile a few weeks ago, but then I saw the new Beetrooper archetype and Dawn of Majesty, and I was like, oh, I got to wait for that because the Link 2 is crazy. The Scale Bomber is crazy. It's a free extender, whereas this card is actually like crazy. It's just pops a monster if you keep it on the field, or you can use it as a level 3 to make Cicada King. So yeah, this card's just nuts for the deck. This card's really cool for the deck too. Just a free negation. And yeah, so remember to like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.